Hello, class. Welcome to RES 8803. My name is Kirk Davis. I will be your instructor for this term. Um, I know many of you are probably not excited about my class. Um, to that end, I will try to make it as palatable as possible. I absolutely love statistics. I like talking about it. I like teaching it. So with that in mind, I am here to guide you through the course. So you can call, text, email, 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's all in the syllabus. But the purpose of this meeting is to give you a brief overview of how the course is structured, what to expect, and to say, hello, here I am. Hopefully, we will come up with a time that meets most of your expectations or works with most of your calendars so we can meet once or twice every week. And if you can't make it during that time, I will record it so you can watch it. So I'll share my screen with you and show you what the class looks like. So you've probably been in Canvas, no mysteries there. It's going to be structured with a start here. It's got the syllabus, brief bio of who I am. It's got a permanent Zoom link. I like Zoom for some things and Teams for others. Zoom is nice because you can click this and just pop in anytime that you want. I'm going to change the password. It's going to be Davis. Or Teams, just let me know. So I'm willing to meet with you any time of the week. If I'm free and you're free, just say, hey, can I meet you in the Zoom room or meet you in the Teams link? And just let me know which, and we can join either way. But for the weekly meeting, the official communication for the class, the university likes Teams. So for the weekly meeting that I will schedule, that I will record for those who can't make it, I will use the Teams link. Right now, we don't know the time and date, so I don't have it there, but I will remind you what it is once we have it there. And then you'll see something unusual. You'll see writing a results section. You're probably saying, why is he putting writing a results section video, and it is a video, at the beginning of the class before we've done anything else? And it's simple. Some students, they sign up for a class like this and they have no idea where they're going. They have no idea what it's about. And so if you watch this 15, 20-minute video that I made on writing a results section, you'll see at the end of this class, what does he expect me to be able to do? And that's really either write a results section or interpret a results section. And that video shows you a very generic way to do it. So if you want to get ahead and just say, okay, where's this class going? What should I be able to do at the end of the class? Click that and watch that. If not, you can save it for later and you can come back and watch it when you're writing your dissertation, especially if you're writing a quantitative or have a quantitative or mixed methods section. Then I've got some stuff that you should print out, stuff that I've made that I found hard to find. So you can find critical value tables everywhere. They're not going to be hard for you to find, but you will need these for the hypothesis testing assignments along with SPSS later on in the class. I just find it convenient if you print them all out at one time. And then a statistical test table and a statistical test decision tree. And they tell you the same thing. They give you the same information, but they give it to you in two different ways. And so one of the hardest things that I had to deal with when I was doing my research, my thesis, dissertation, and the common problem that most students have is they say, I've got my data, I just don't know how to analyze it. Which test do I use? And it can become a little overwhelming finding the right test. And so I hope either the table format or the decision tree format will help you maybe narrow it down. And of course, you can always call me and we will work together and I will tell you the statistical test that you need. The other one is you've found your results, you've got your results, you've chosen the right table or the test to use for your dissertation, and you say, well, how do I report this? And again, it's hard to find this nice, neat, concise way of reporting every one of these tests. So I've made you a little cheat sheet here. And then I've included effect size tables because I'm a huge advocate of reporting effect sizes. If you don't report effect sizes, to me, it's just useless. And I have two of them. This one is a basic effect size table, and this one contains the most common test. This one's a little bit more thorough. Probably won't need it. And then, just for your convenience, an unofficial dissertation layout that I made. I call it unofficial. It's based on the layout that you can find at the university's website, but I made it. So, God forbid there's a small error in there and you say, well, Dr. Davis said I had to do it this way. So, always go by the university's guidelines. But sometimes you can get overwhelmed with the layout when there's so much information. So, this is really just a 3-page, 4-page cheat sheet of what it should look like and what should go in each area generically. Each week we'll have that recorded meeting. I will put it here. So right now it's empty because we haven't met yet. And then the rest of the class is pretty basic. It's week 1, week 2, week 3, and I've got it set up in order. And with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, the dates aren't terribly important to me. So I put dates on most things. Like quiz 2 has a date. Quiz 1 has a due date, March 26th. But if you'll notice, when you actually open up the quiz and look at the due date, it has a due date, but it doesn't have an until date. So the quizzes, they never close. And my goal for you is to take the quizzes over and over and over again. Only the best score gets recorded. The highest score gets recorded. You get unlimited attempts. There's no time limit on the quizzes. There is on the final exam. But the quizzes are the foundation for the final exam. So take these quizzes until you hate them. That is going to be the guiding theme for that. For each section, I've made you some generic notes. So there is a book for the class, and I'll mention that in a minute when we get to the syllabus. But most textbooks are written as reference books, and they're a little bit hard to read. So these are, you could call them Kirk notes, Cliff notes, whatever you want. They're just summary notes. And then I've tried to make some lectures. I've put these on YouTube. You can watch them. I will admit they're not the best quality. I'm using my laptop and the basic camera on the laptop and the audio, but they cover what you should need, what you need to know. And then it says possible quiz questions. This is literally me going through most of the quizzes, questions that you could see and explaining them quickly, but giving you some overview. So if you watch these, you should not be surprised at all. Hint, when you come down and take the quiz, really, you say, hey, he covered a lot of those questions in video format that I'm seeing on the quiz. So when you get to the quiz, it's got a due date. That's to keep you on track. Ideally, you should stay on track, but you can always go back and take it. You can always work ahead in this class. One thing that you have to finish on time are the weekly discussions. There's no point in doing a discussion 2 weeks later after everybody else has already submitted theirs. So the discussion due dates are hard dates. So after March 26th, discussion 1 disappears. And then same format for week 2 discussion. We'll have a due date and it disappears after April 2nd. Now, if you're watching this video or you just logged in and you go to the website, you're only going to see week 1. And the reason for that is because this class has only been taught 1 time at the university, and that was term 2 by me. So I'm trying to improve it and rearrange it. So I'm in the process of hopefully improving it, which means right at the time of me making this video, you get to see week 1, you don't get to see the rest, but it'll be up by the time the class starts. So I'm posting this 2 weeks early. So the class is a linear format. You just work your way down. You can always work ahead. I don't mind that. It's kind of pointless to work ahead on the discussions, but I didn't limit you to do that. Quizzes, stay open. Watch the videos. Watch me going over some questions. And then as we go down, we'll get a little bit more gear. So I would say focus. The first couple of weeks are hopefully a review of what statistics is and stuff you covered in your master's or your undergraduate level. But I found most students, by the time they get to their PhD, have forgotten all that. So this will be a little overview for you. And I always will give you some recommended videos and so forth that I like to watch that I think are useful. They're not required. You won't see specific questions on a test about them, but I think you will find them useful each time. Yeah. Discussions, you can't go wrong as long as you do something and you give me a good faith effort. Really, they're meant to be thought-provoking. I give you certain paradoxes or thought-provoking questions and do your best to answer them, but I don't grade you on whether you got it right or wrong. I just look to see if you put a good faith effort, then I will give you what I think the correct answer is. So let's take a look at the syllabus. I don't think there's going to be any mystery with the syllabus. I got the dates for the term, course description, course goals, objectives, instructor contact. This is pretty important. This term, they've asked me to use schedule a meeting. I did it last term, where you can go in and schedule a meeting, and it schedules it throughout Teams, but nobody ever used it. They followed my advice, and the best way to reach me by far is call myself or text. You can call, text 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. I really don't care. But this is the best way to reach me. Got an email, of course. If you want to schedule a meeting, you can click here and officially schedule a meeting. That's up to you if you want to follow that way. Our Teams meeting link, you could click that if you wanted. It'll take you to the same place that I have in Canvas. But I guess the big take-home message is, if you want fast interaction, text me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Basic education, basically it's telling you I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm really focused on experimental analysis of behavior. But I've taught overseas several times. I've worked with international students. I've got a publication in leadership, whether it's leadership or psychology or physics and so forth. Statistics is about the same. Grading scale, nothing mysterious here. It's a standard 10-point scale. I do put the decimal. A lot of students will argue with me and say, well, I've got an 89.4. Isn't that close enough? And the answer is no, it's not. 89.5, I'll round up. 89.4, it stays where it is. For this class, I don't require a traditional textbook. This is more of a how-to survival guide to use SPSS, and you have to download SPSS. It's required for this course. You don't have to pay for it. This is where you will find it. I will admit SPSS is it's not hard to use, but it's not necessarily intuitive the first time you use it. So I will post several videos of how to use SPSS. If you like a textbook, this one I think is a wonderful textbook. It's at openstacks.com. You can just go right there. In fact, if you go to OpenStax, you can find another one. I'll put another link for another stats book that's absolutely free, but this is a good stat book from Rice University, and there's another one on OpenStax if you want a reference to that. But I think I will provide you with everything that you need in the class. The calendar, there's one thing I got to update on the calendar. So in the description of assignments, it says you've got 3 hypothesis testing assignments. I'm going to have them due in week 8, but I'm going to post them in week 6 and 7 so that you don't see them all at one time. And I will post a video on how to use SPSS to complete these assignments. So this in a nutshell right here, description of assignments, is what you have to do for the class. There's going to be a quiz every week except the last 2 weeks. 3 hypothesis testing assignments where I give you some data. It's actually going to be in a multiple choice format. And you will have to use SPSS to answer some basic questions and determine whether or not you should reject the null or fail to reject it, and whether or not you made a type 1 error, type 2 error, and how to report the results and so forth. But I will give you some videos and walkthroughs on how to do these assignments. It's not something you'd be expected to do at the beginning of the course. Comprehensive final exam, which will literally come straight from the quizzes. So if you take the quizzes, take them again, and then you hate the quizzes, you'll do fine on the final exam. Weekly discussion boards, easy 10%. As long as you give me a good faith effort, you stay on topic, and you do it by the due date, you're fine. Probably the part of the class that scares most students is the results section. When I say results, it's going to be a short result. So it's not a full-blown results section that you would see like you would perhaps in your dissertation. Basically, it's a one-page results section, if that. And there's going to be 3 of them. I tell you what the first 2 are going to be. So the first one, you're going to have a two-way ANOVA and simple regression. So I will actually give you data for a two-way ANOVA and a simple regression, and I will tell you what the hypothesis is, and you're going to have to enter the data and write a results section based on that. I actually will post examples of what the results section should look like, and I feel free to model your results section after mine. And so you don't have to start from scratch. Don't let this intimidate you. I want you to get familiar with using SPSS and how to write a results section. But the third results section, I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. I want you to choose it. And ideally, you would choose the test and write a results section that is consistent with one or more of the questions that you hope to answer in your dissertation, if you know what that is. I admit, I know full well most of you probably don't know. But if you do know, or at least have an idea, at least this will give you a head start on what to do. And if you say, well, I have no idea, then I simply say, well, just go ahead and do a multiple regression. That's the default. So you could say 3 mini AP8 results sections, 2-way ANOVA, simple regression, and one of your choice. Hopefully that will be one that's consistent with your dissertation. If you have an idea, you're going to make up the data so you don't have to collect any original data. And if you truly don't know, then probably the simplest third alternative is to give me a multiple regression, because that's a good chance you may use that if you have a quantitative research question. I think the rest is pretty standard. Again, you can always call or text if you have any questions. So look forward to meeting you guys once a week. The weekly meetings are not mandatory, by the way. It's just a way of doing my best to be available to help you through what I'm sure most of you are not. It's not a class you're terribly excited about taking. That's it.